All right, back to it. Inane Blather. That's the show.
Mm-hmm.
Two people
Número 45.
screaming into the void. Lost, privileged, white, leftists with nothing new
That's
to
what we
say.
need more of. Yeah.
I feel like everyone's take can be slightly different.
Like I've
so you
said,
can
it's
hear
all
the
been
same
done
crap.
before, but not this way.
Yes,
So,
because this time the show is brought to you by
Headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
as well as us.
Yeah.
We're nothing like that.
I don't know where those jerks are. Yeah. But,
yeah. We're not
they couldn't-
headstrong
we're filling
jerks.
in. Yeah.
Stop.
But yeah, that intro brought to you by Coke Zero, believe it or
Yeah,
not. No.
we love Coke
So we
Zero.
were talking about last time. And that intro also,
That was, and I don't say this lightly, worse than 100 September 11th.
I would agree with that.
yeah. I was trying to figure out different intros. They're all racing through my head. I'm a really, really big thinker.
Yeah,
when
you're
we
really
get on here.
good at improv. Yeah.
But yeah. I'm good at improv.
Yeah.
because
Creativity to me is
brevity
like
is
yeah.
brevity is the soul of wit.
Nice.
But
Right,
Inane
Norm.
Blather is
Yeah.
where every episode, I don't even say every week now, who knows when they come out, but it's where we reiterate over and over again what our fearless leader, Ben Shapiro, reminds us.
Capitalism is bad.
That's it.
And
Yeah. And if you
he
say
also has a great saying, though.
that it's good, everyone stands up. It's like,
Ben Shapiro also, I use this quote a lot from him, and I want to thank him for it, is that mental illness is when you're right wing.
Mental illness is when you're right
so-
wing.
yeah.
There it is. Yeah, he has a lot of
Exactly.
good words of wisdom like that, and I really admire his willingness to speak up, against this conservative culture, right wing problem that we have.
Mental illness is
And-
when you're right wing.
Yeah, and then
Thank
the
you, Ben.
response
Thank you.
from Tim Pool,
Oh, how I wish I could believe or understand that.
emphasis on understand. So
Yeah, man, he might be the dumbest motherfucker out there. I feel bad for him, honestly. I feel like he would be
Yeah.
someone that I would feel like, come here, babe. You're so
I
stupid.
know.
Like, I can fix you. You're so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, just
And
I feel bad.
there's no help coming from his friend group. They're all idiots. And the only I forget, I was watching a little clip. I think they were talking about Vice going bankrupt. No. It was on RM Brown because they were talking about George Santos and how still, because knee-jerk reaction for Tim Pool is to be on the side of the GOP or whatever. And he obviously hadn't got the memo yet that even the Republican Party is not standing by his lying ass. George
Yeah.
Santos just literally making everything
Oh, my
up.
God.
But one of the guys
could they
on
stand
the
by him?
show,
Yeah.
who I didn't really recognize, I recognized the two other guys that are usually there with him, but he was just having fun with it. He's just some right-wing idiot who was he thought it was funny. And he's like, I don't know. I mean, if it's true, I hope so. He's like, because that's hilarious. And he just kept
Oh, my
laughing
God.
at it. Tim Pool's being so serious. He's like, I don't know. There's no proof of this. See, it does. Yeah, he doesn't.
He is so serious.
He did not
he doesn't really make
believe
jokes.
that George
Yeah.
Santos was that drag queen when it came out. It's like, well, it turns out
Oh,
he
yeah.
was a drag performer, which nothing wrong with that. It looked like he had a lot of fun based on the few
Yeah, he
things
looked
that I
great
saw.
from what I saw.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He did a great job. He knows how to do some makeup, that's for sure. But I mean, it was just funny looking back at that. And Tim Pool's like, no, there's no proof this is the same person. I don't think it's him. It doesn't look, the nose looks different. The lips look totally different. One of the other guys was like, I don't know. Looks, and then RM Brown says, and of course, immediately after that, he came out, oh yeah, and George Santos unequivocally denies it. Says right here in the article. And it was like a week later, he said, yeah, no, actually, that was me.
Oh my God.
It's like you were the only one standing up for this guy because you think that's what you're supposed to be doing. It reminds me of Trump feeling out the GOP talking points during the primaries in 2016 and stuff, and being like, yeah, there's got to be punishment for women who get abortions, and even
you know what?
all of them
His
are
little
like,
wish
whoa.
came true. Yeah.
And they're
Then
like,
he said
hey, that's...
that, and now they're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's funny because he's like, this is what they would think, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right.
No, I'm right.
It's like the only time that he's like following things to a logical conclusion,
Well, actually, yeah, that's interesting. It's like, but why wouldn't women be charged? If you think it's murder, why would you think that that's not murder?
You'd be an
And so say
accessory
it.
at least.
So say it, say it to your daughter when she comes to you and says, I'm pregnant and I'm 16. And say, well, if you get rid of that baby, you're a fucking murderer. Yeah, right.
Well, if you get rid of that baby, it's going to be real tough on the pipes because
People have to flush their toilet 15 times.
you make some real gross, like, fetus jokes
I
or
really
something.
want to tell you my manifesto update right now because it just happened. And I want to do it because it's really prescient.
Are you ever going to let other people add to this? Or?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
No,
You can add to
no,
this, but it just happened to me right now, and
Yeah,
it's happened
what's
a
up?
lot. So I got an update.
I got an update.
Because I get this. I always get unsweetened iced tea when I go to the gas station.
Sorry, I had to go to the other soundboard.
You're going to hear about it.
Man, we're going to get sued by the Limitless Range podcast.
Yeah, but your podcast.
Yeah, from 2016 or... No, it was like
doesn't
2018.
exist anymore. Yeah. So I get this tea a lot. It's my go-to.
Testosterone?
And this has happened a lot. Yeah, I get tea treatments, unsweetened tea treatments, because I'm a man.
Treatments.
But yeah. And this has happened before, and it just happened right now, where like the pressure of it, it's too much when they like cap it, and it's very full. So as you're holding the bottle to twist off the top, it often spills out over the edge as you're opening it. It's sort of a lid situation, but it's really full. This has happened. It happened with Dad. We got the same kind of tea. It happened. We're like, what the?
Was he over
so
there?
Full. No, right now it just happened. I opened it and it spilled. And I went to take a drink. It spilled all down. Is on my shirt right now. My legs are wet because of it. It was definitely, this has happened before across the country. I've driven across the country, gotten this pure leaf
so it's
unsweetened
not like
iced tea.
from
It is
shipping
there.
to a different location.
I don't know where they get it from.
Elevation or something like that is what I was thinking.
It's often all the way to the top, like filled all the way up. So then,
so what you're asking for, environmentalist idiot? What, you
No,
want them to make more plastic for the bottles?
As you open it, the pressure releases, it spills out over the edges onto the ridges of this thing. So as you tilt it to take a drink, it's all comes down and drips
It's
down
in the
your chin
threads.
onto your shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's happening. And this happens with this tea, and I still always buy it, but it is pretty annoying. And like if I'm going somewhere and it happens, right now I'm just sitting in like at home, whatever, who cares? But like I'm on my way, I stopped to get this, and then I had to spill it over my shirt now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm on
Because
my
I'm a
way.
slob.
Chosen
Yeah, this is definitely their problem, not mine.
Yeah.
But there is no other way to open it. Like I have to, you have to hold it somehow and open it, and then it's like, pff, and you're like driving a stick shift, and you're like, whoa, try to be careful. It's fucking annoying, and I can't even. Yeah, exactly. Sitting here at the desk, I can't even do it right.
So
that's my update.
Pure leaf tea.
I hope you get ass cancer and die, you son of a bitch.
So
but I do like the unsweetened iced tea.
I think we'll go to something different. Before the episode, we were talking about online leftism. I just get really tired of talking about it. Well, actually, I don't even get tired of talking about it. It's just that it's also, I don't want to explain who every person is. That's what's tiring. It's just stupid. Number one solution to our online leftist problems is people need to see each other on grass, be grass touching together. Yeah, Comic-Con.
That's my idea. Yes.
Comic-Con 2024. Get your tickets now. I've already been setting it
Or
all up.
ProgCon,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's completely. We've got the
Hassan will
Amway
be
Arena
there.
in Orlando.
Yeah.
But
All
we've
these
got
leftist
the
figures.
MGM Grand in
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Actually, I was thinking someone's backyard here in the Pacific Northwest. It's kind of more our vibe for that kind of the funds we have to, our backyard here.
Oh, like in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, that will really bring a lot of big figures there. It'll look even more embarrassing than that. Who was it with pretty good sized Communist Party?
Oh. I was thinking
With that idiot Burger King, that guy Caleb Maupin. And they had a whole organization and stuff like that. But then it's just like, this is really disheartening when you see people with like an organization and stuff, and this is what you're doing.
This is what you
It's
come
not
up with?
doing anything. Even the
I agree
DSA, like they have their national convention. That'd be interesting to go to. But I
but
get
what we
kind of
need is a
worried what I
place
hear
for
about the
friends to be.
DSA, and there's be like, then to be in real life. I'd like to go to some chapter meetings, do something, meet people, see what can be done, see where I can help, and then at least just anecdotes about like DSA chapters in large cities, like in Brooklyn or something. I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I'd survive. Like, I'm not a anti-PC person, really, but I feel like I would be bullied out of it because I'm just not good enough, and I'm a white guy leftist. No one wants to.
Yeah.
No, we don't need more of me.
it's like, so what should I do? Become a conservative?
I mean, yeah, exactly. That's where that's like the basis of so much online battling. Is just that shut up and listen because we do identity politics and don't want to admit it. And then you start sounding like a conservative. If you don't agree, you sound like a reactionary. It's like,
it's
I
so
don't know.
incredibly arrogant to think that the left, like everyone, like these people on the left think that we are not susceptible to any of these things, like being dogmatic about anything, that we're just like so far above that. Like that arrogance obviously is what's keeping people from actually, helping.
It's like it's unfortunate that it seems like historically the best, most cohesive way to get different leftist factions together is through like anti-fascist action, which is great. I mean, the international symbol is a red and black flags because it's communism and anarchism coming together to fight fascism. But it's like, well, that's a problem when the basis for the most cohesive or best compromise across the leftist spectrum is purely in reaction to the right. I mean, it's a good thing for Antifa to exist and to do what it does, but it's not progressive. I mean, just by definition, it's not
reactionary.
Not quite, I guess. I mean, it only exists in opposition to fascism. And it's like, and that's just off the top of my head because I'm not a historian and I'm not well read and I'm an idiot blathering on a podcast called Inane Blather. And
I need
you don't
to
have
see
to know
a dick.
anything.
that's the only reason I want to go to a convention. I mean, that's why it's going to be in Las Vegas. I'm going to be like, just walking around with a soundboard like, I'm Hassan Piker.
I need to see a dick.
So
I look different in real life.
they're standing in front of me. I look different in real life. While talking to someone. I actually look different in real life. Like
Don't worry. If you saw me
you've
in real
been
life,
online too much, buddy. That's because
Everyone is stupid except me.
yeah.
so true.
That's what it comes down to. Oh, I was going to say earlier, because we were talking about Pim Tool. I mean, it really, I think only because we have empathy or you give people the benefit of the doubt, that type of thing, you still have to see humanity in people. And it sucks to feel condescending, like as a leftist.
Yeah.
Where it's
I was
like,
just talking about this on my drive home, actually, to someone. Who was
Yeah.
feeling like, how do you approach things and not seem condescending when you're trying to stick to your morals and everything?
or I was even
but
thinking
not-
about it earlier, just literally walking through a capitalist hellscape, as I often do. But I was thinking about, I forget what the context was, but it's like, I mean, the question or reaction from maybe someone that you're discussing or arguing with from the right, it's like, well, how do you know, like, I mean, you have these opinions, how do you know you're more well-versed or that you're right? And it's like, it's because I've asked myself that question. Like, that's the whole point. I mean, you don't want to get too, like you're saying, dogmatic or just blind to these things, or following only people, whether they be an online leftist that you like more, like we were saying before the show started, or even if it doesn't have to be Vosh or Hassan or Professor Flowers or whatever it is. It could even be like Karl Marx.
Karl Marx is
exactly,
for sure.
like, or
That's
Lenin.
the example that I was thinking.
Or Kropotkin or whatever anarchists do. Who knows? Isaac. No, but
If
whatever
anarchists
those
are following one
crusty-ass
single
people do.
person,
No.
then that would be like, what the fuck, guys?
But I'm saying in terms of, political ideology. Because on the other hand, there's only so much you can do. You are living and surviving under capitalism. You're not in a position to sit and philosophize about all this shit, but you still have to take the time to do introspection and stuff. But sometimes really all you're going to get is information from a couple of sources. That's where you do your learning, whether, it's Noam Chomsky or Marcuse or Marx or something like that. And that's what really gets your mind going and gets you to learn things about whether it's socialism and anarchism or anti-fascism or just the inherent problems with capitalism because you're reading Marx or whatever, or revolution, with Lenin. It's like, but there's only so much you can do. We're not all in the position where we can just really be interrogating our own behaviors, our own thoughts. I mean, the fact that on the left, even in the online left, that we're literally having discussions back and forth on praxis versus theory and the importance, and it's just like, it's like, man, we are so much better and so much more correct, but it doesn't matter. Like,
I was just watching an FD Signifier video, and like they had an edit break to like expand a little bit on something they had said, and it was so thoughtfully worded and like really trying to get the point across that they're trying to have, just like, I mean, that he's really trying to think about these things and be compassionate and like really like see the nuance of all of this, and it being like apologetic about like, maybe this is a transgressive way of looking at blah 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 blah, and how incredibly thoughtful and intentional like the video was, this tiny little edit response, a couple
and how
minutes,
much you
like
have
kind of
to
explaining more, and like
everything.
how much you, that's exactly what I
Yes.
was saying. I was like, the rhetoric is really like, obviously people are very well read, like a lot of times on the left, like we're talking about. But you have to be so careful. Otherwise, people are so immediately on you about everything. It's like, can you not give me the benefit of the doubt and kind of know what I'm saying without me having to literally expand 1,000 extra words on this, just so you know for sure that I'm not some horrible fucking racist misogynist?
Why-
because those are the two options that I have here, practically.
Why doesn't intention matter? Like, is it because too many people on our side are literally can't understand our good intentions and they're on the spectrum or something, like with so many people? Like, because it's like, why aren't if we're on the same side here, generally speaking, leftist people look lefties. No, and it's like starting with that assumption in mind, so we can just consider the actual content. It's like we're not. I guess too often people are fucked over, and so there's a defensiveness. You don't want the wool pulled over your eyes. You don't want to be propagandized to, but. What
and you're
does
part
it
of a
take?
marginalized community too, a lot of times, obviously. So you're very sensitive to these things.
I feel like the reason all those are front loaded is for people that
white people.
aren't, that feel like they have to stand up for the marginalized, even though it's like, well, what are you doing for marginalized communities by picking through people's well-intentioned thoughts and ideas on the fucking internet? But I mean, that even. That's a thing that our Twitter account said to Noah Sampson. There's this ongoing leftist drama. Of course, it involves Vosh, like it always does. And, but there was, we're hating on Vosh's community. There's good reasons, there's bad reasons, but he had said something like, he's like, yeah, just because I want free health care and to abolish prisons or whatever he said, just because I want free health care for all and blank doesn't mean we're on the same side. And it's like myself, as well as a couple others, said, I mean, it kind of does, though. It kind of does mean you're on the same side.
Yeah.
Like,
what
you're going to be on the side. That's what, like, I mean,
so
at the very least,
they're on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, they have to be. That's the thing, is they kind of work backwards from a conclusion and determine that someone they don't like. I mean, Vosh is just a great example. How often he's called like a fascist apologist or a liberal, and stuff where it's like, but you have to know he's not. You don't have to agree with, rhetorical
his take
tactics
on everything.
You don't have to agree with his policy on everything. You guys can disagree on the war in Ukraine or whatever, but he's a socialist, okay? And maybe so are you. Like, you are on the same side. Too bad.
This just goes
Even
to my
if you
point.
don't like these people and you disagree on 90% of stuff, there are certain things that undergird the ideology to which you ascribe that makes you on the same side, okay? And that's just a fact. It's too bad. Like,
they are on
I don't care
team.
if you don't like
Sorry.
it. Yeah, that's like, if you both, at the very least, if you both want to fight fascism, you're on the same side. Because, I don't know. It's like, and there's...
It just goes to our point of saying people need to be more like friends. They need to touch grass together and realize you are on the same team. Because otherwise, like, do these leftists have friends? Because you would have to, in order to be a friend with this person, you have to agree with literally every single thing that this person agrees with.
Yeah.
That's the way you live your life? Probably not. They probably have friends that don't agree with them on everything about approaches to everything, different political candidates or whatever. So why not extend that out to these other leftists too?
Yeah.
Like being on, like, how you would feel about a friend of yours who has, mostly the same kind of, at least the same goals in mind, extending more to people rather than taking away. Vosh definitely doesn't have a conservative ideology.
Yeah.
So like you're on the same team.
Like,
you have different approaches.
Sampson, and it's like, so.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can. I'm not saying like not to argue about these things that you disagree on, but to completely frame incorrectly this other human being's take on the world because you disagree on this thing isn't the way to go about it, in my opinion. So,
for sure.
And if you disagree with me, we could talk about it, but sorry, we are on the same side, and it's like, and that's fine. But that's exactly why I was saying I didn't want to get into it, because then it just becomes too mucky. I've been trying to stay out of the exact conversation that's been going on for a couple weeks now. I think part of the reason that it's been going on is because it was rehashed and brought up in the last ContraPoints video for no reason, in my opinion. Everyone just hates each other. It's like, why do we all hate each other? Like, you don't.
We all would be friends if we met. God, you guys are all funny and smart leftists.
The leaders of these internet bubbles really is what it is, and not even in a derogatory way, but the leaders of these different aspects of leftism online can they don't believe something like Vosh is a pedophile, but
Let's hope not.
But you still say shit like that, or you allude to it, or you use that stuff and constantly harangue the other party for this, and the people that follow you, or the people that only see a couple of tweets and form their opinions based on that because they're following a certain person that they generally trust, they do believe that. They really do think that. They don't, Vosh doesn't literally think like, it was horrific sexual harassment from Cat Black. But shit did go wrong, and it's like, and all of his fans, or he doesn't literally believe, here's an old one, that Professor Flowers wants to genocide white people. But because of all it takes is a little less context, a little time to pass, and people to keep talking about it, and people literally think that she does because of some stupid debate that they had that made me want to pull my nose hairs out.
Internet culture is so much of that too, where people do just say that stuff, and it's like, your words still matter if they're online.
Yeah.
It still has, like, you're saying something, putting it out there into the zeitgeist, and it's out there now for people to read, for it to become, like, what is it when you have, like, subliminal messaging, or like you're just being constantly like exposed to the same thing, or it's kind of alluded to or whatever.
Sissy hypno porn.
Nobody,
that's what nobody
you're talking about.
Like
is immune
Knowles.
to being influenced by their environment. So to think that kind of rhetoric and stuff doesn't have like a lasting effect on perspectives of other people that like consume it is just wrong.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to something else that was making me really mad. Let's try something, and now for something completely different. I have a lot of stuff on here, but I forgot I came across an interesting thing, including an article that was published a while back in the New York Times.
Failing New York Times.
Yeah, transphobic New York Times. Thousands of teens are being pushed into military's junior ROTC. In high schools across the country, students are being placed in military classes without electing them on their own. The only word I can think of is indoctrination, one parent said. And this person who shared this, that I started reading this, forced to wear military uniforms, students tried to drop the class, but were denied. And I hope that I have the actual article and stuff, but it's like, of course it could be an elective class and stuff. Like, I don't think it should be, but whatever. It's been around for 60 years or whatever, but...
so it must be good.
I mean, it's, going... I need to get back to listening to Nixon Land again. Haven't listened to it in over a week, but a lot of stuff going on at ROTC. Shout out to Zach. I mean, he probably remembers when we did a crappy report on the Kent State shooting and stuff, and that was all because of the ROTC there. But the junior ROTC is, training when you're in high school, and kids are being put in these classes. And, then administrators saying, well, you don't have to, and la, la, la. But then they couldn't drop the class because they were put in it. They couldn't get into another class. And now they literally have to take this military indoctrination class in high school. Like, fuck that. It's crazy. Like,
I'm sure the Republicans are so up in arms about that. You know, they want parents to have a say in what their kids are learning in school. You know, I'm sure they don't like the
yeah.
school to force them to take these classes, right? Yeah.
Let's see. Junior ROTC.
Sure, they have the same reaction as they do about a gay teacher existing.
But you know what? I just saw an article. Junior ROTC linked to positive school and career outcomes. Well, that's good. Oh, that's published by the Association of the United States Army. Let's see.
It's linked to it.
Okay, thousands of teens are being pushed into military's junior ROTC. New York Times, you better let me fucking read this. Yeah, let's see here. She and other freshmen at Pershing High School in Detroit soon learned that they had been placed into the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, a program funded by the U.S. military designed to teach leadership skills, discipline, and civic values, and open students' eyes to the idea of a military career. In the class, students had to wear military uniforms and obey orders from an instructor who was often yelling, Ms. Thomas said. But when several of them pleaded to be allowed to drop the class, school administrators refused. They told us it was mandatory, Ms. Thomas said. So there are junior ROTC programs taught by military veterans at some 3,500 high schools across the country, are supposed to be elective, and the Pentagon has said that requiring students to take them goes against its guidelines. It's weird, like, even just hearing that, it's like, yeah, I would hope so, but I would figure it'd be against the law to require kids to take these classes. But the New York Times found that thousands of public school students were being funneled into the classes without ever having chosen them, either as an explicit requirement or by being automatically enrolled. So,
what the fuck?
More than 200 public records requests showed that dozens of schools have made the program mandatory or steered more than 75% of students in a single grade into these classes, including schools in Detroit, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Oklahoma City, and Mobile, Alabama. About going down as far as Mobile. A vast majority of the schools with those high enrollment numbers were attended by a large proportion of non-white students and those from low-income households.
I was already going to say it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
The junior ROTC in high school has been a point of debate since the program was founded more than a century ago. It was a little longer than what I was thinking. So,
if it was debated a century ago, then we must be doing something fucking wrong if we're still doing it. If they already had questions about it 100 years ago.
But 50 years later, I mean, since they really toned it down after all the shit during Vietnam. I mean, it was the ROTC stuff was powder kegs. I mean, these places got burned down and vandalized, and a lot of protests and stuff like that. But now, 50 years later, new conflicts are emerging as parents in some cities say their children are being forced to put on military uniforms, obey a chain of command, and recite patriotic declarations in classes they never wanted to take.
Whoa. And you know, you and I were just talking about, it's so gross how the military preys on young men, especially. Like we were talking about Barry and poor Barry. If you guys haven't seen Barry, won't talk about anything.
Barry
no spoilers or anything. It's a great show.
Great show.
And just how
great series.
What it does to these young people, and oh man, it's gross. And then indoctrinating them when they're 15 or 16 or something. Yikes. Not just 18-year-old.
Natalie, it's just opening their mind to a military career. Make sure that they know that something's there when they realize they have no other options.
Yikes.
Because
democracy simply doesn't work.
Well, actually,
yeah, I like the point that the major selling point of joining the military is you get
college, healthcare.
Yeah, you get college paid for, you get healthcare paid for, you have housing, you have food when you're there, living there. You know, so it's socialism or whatever. It's funded by the people,
prison,
you know.
But
well, hey, isn't that just socialism?
Yeah, really.
No.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
that's what a communist country would be like.
Yeah, no.
All
the
the
real
things
major
about-
selling point about getting any sort of military experience nowadays is just that
Capitalism is bad.
Yeah, and that's really all it is. Yeah, but mostly that.
Natalie hates non-binary people.
Yeah.
That is a big thing in the U.S. military. They know it.
Let's see. Oh, yeah.
They know what they did.
Also-
Wait, did you hear that joke? Wait,
No.
say
They know
hit
what
that sound
they
drop
did.
again.
Natalie
Oh.
hates non-binary people.
They, them know what they did.
They know
what they, them did.
exactly.
While Pentagon officials have long insisted that JROTC is not a recruiting tool, they have openly discussed expanding the $400 million a year program, whose size has already tripled since the 1970s. The Army says that
Nice.
44% of all soldiers who entered its ranks in recent years came from a school that offered JROTC. Wow.
Gross.
Yeah, it's like, let's see, the program's textbooks, the Times found, at times falsify or downplay the failings of the U.S. government.
Oh, not surprising, but that is hard to hear.
And the program's heavy concentration in schools with low income and non-white students, some opponents said, helps propel such students into the military instead of encouraging other routes to college or jobs in the civilian economy. It's hugely problematic, said whiny
Some
liberal.
whiny
No,
leftist said,
yeah. who worked with a campaign against automatic enrollment in Chicago. Now 33, he said he has become concerned that the program was brainwashing students after a JROTC instructor at his high school approached him and urged him to join the classes and enlist in the military. Man.
Yikes.
Oh, here we go.
Who does those jobs? Oh my God! Who's this this officer coming and
Well-
like preying on young boys?
Well, they do that
Was he
anyway,
Catholic?
even where you
No.
don't have
No, I know.
junior ROTC.
But I mean, high school students. Man,
yeah.
that's,
Schools-
well, I mean, that's where they get them from, obviously. But
Schools also have a financial incentive to push students into the program.
it.
The
I was gonna ask
military
that.
subsidizes instructors' salaries while requiring schools to maintain a certain level of enrollment in order to keep the program. No fucking wonder. They have free
that's so
subsidized
fucking gross.
class for something for kids to do. Some kids might want to do that, whatever. But we'll pay for the teacher, but you have to keep kids enrolled here. So they just start automatically enrolling kids in this fucking brainwashing military program.
oh my God, oh my God, and
Oh,
Yeah,
but
that's
Commander
cool. And
Schwegman says it's really about teaching kids about service and teaching them about teamwork. So, yeah, I don't.
they couldn't get
I
that
changed my
experience any other
mind.
way. They couldn't join like a organized sports team to learn teamwork. They couldn't, do giving through like some volunteer programs or anything like that. They would have to learn it through the military.
Boy.
That's
Even just this picture, it's like, it's just weird to me. At a South Atlanta high school, the principal decided several years ago to start all freshmen in JROTC. It's this picture of all these cadets. They are all black, boys and girls in their uniforms. I
And they're
am
like
the future
14.
of the United States of America, the cadets said in unison. I was just telling you today, it's like, we should watch Starship Troopers. And it's
Oh,
like,
boy,
oh my
yeah.
gosh. Let's see. And of course, I mean, if it does good things for some people, it does good things. But it's really gross. I mean, there's just... We've got our priorities
just so
mixed up in this
blatant.
country,
Yeah.
is kind of what I'm starting to think. So,
something's not right here. Yeah.
wow, and even people that like are in military families are against this. Mr. Mejia, whose daughter was put against her will into a class in Fort Myers, met with a series of school officials while trying to get his daughter out. He said he supported the military. His sister is in the Navy, but was outraged that his daughter was being forced into the program. The school let his daughter out of the class, he said, only after he complained that an instructor had grabbed her by the shoulders during an exercise, an incident school officials did not dispute when they noted in a response to the Times that they had ultimately allowed the girl to drop the class.
Oh my God. And they're talking about 14-year-olds being forced into this class as a mandatory class. and getting grabbed by a teacher. What the fuck? That's teaching them teamwork.
Wow. Some of these places, Times Review found a number of high schools where at least 3/4 of a grade students were enrolled in JROTC. And it's all in the South. All in the South and Texas. Man.
Yikes.
Wow.
Ugh.
Yeah, and I mean, reiterating this interesting part of it, in analyzing data released by the Army, the Times found that among schools where at least 3/4 of freshmen were enrolled, over 80% of them had a student body composed primarily of Black or Hispanic students.
And that's interesting because that's kind of hard to do in America because most people that live in America are white.
Yeah, exactly. There are only so many,
legitimately.
majority Black or majority Hispanic schools in the first place. And they said even going through all this data, it was hard to determine whether it was actually required or if it was just automatic enrollment, or they wouldn't or if they'd let them drop the class or not. Here, I'm just going to end on this. Just in Philadelphia, a district spokeswoman said that one school in the district, Martin Luther King High School, automatically enrolled all freshmen into JROTC to expose them to possible military careers and to, quote, create a culture of teamwork, collaboration, and discipline. Automatic enrollment into military classes at Martin Luther King High School.
Remember, when we say satire is dead, and I feel like America would be so funny if it wasn't real life. It's so hilarious how...
Welcome to Inane Blather, where satire is dead and so are we.
Yeah. Fuck, yeah, that's...
Yeah. Oh, man.
That's all you can do about it.
I don't even know what to...
Besides being activist.
You know what? This is all I can say.
That's it. That's jailable. That's jailable. Throw them in jail right now. That's jailable.
I'm against the prison system, but anyone who came up with this program and put it in place, and especially that school.
Okay, Natalie.
Yeah, that's jailable.
Yeah.
Okay, Natalie. Oh, no.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, stay tuned for a bonus episode. No, a bonus segment. Smegment is what I call it.
Smegma.
Well, I love you. I was going to add, so I got kind of distracted with that article. I was going to add something to the MOPG.
Do it. Let's hear it.
Manifesto of petty grievances. Companies sending you a response email letting you know that you unsubscribed from their emails. Oh my God.
Wow. That's jailable right there.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. That's jailable. Throw them in jail right now. That's jailable.
That's what laws are for, to prevent that bullshit.
I get an email telling me that I unsubscribed from their emails.
What?
That's not the Hassan what thing that I thought it was.
I went through the process to unsubscribe. I know.
I see those emails just rolling in. I'm like,
This is absolutely lit.
but I can't, let alone just when lately I've had a couple places where I unsubscribe and they just continue sending me emails and it's driving me crazy. It's like, I've been curating
that's not
my
a petty
inbox.
Grievance.
Yeah, that's a little different. I've been curating this. I get about 20 emails a day, and I try to keep it low because I don't want to change my email. I use it for everything. Don't make me change it.
No way.
But if you have something to submit to the Manifesto of Petty Grievances, please email us at inaneblatherpod@gmail.com.
Or leave a comment on YouTube.
Call our phone number 800-867-5309.
Nice.
I didn't know what else to say. I should have just had the...
what else is there to say?
I should have just had the phone number.
Your real phone number?
Yeah, I should have just... 509. But there was that random Trivial Pursuit card from an old box of Trivial Pursuit
yeah.
that we had, and it's like, what do you reach when you call this number? It was like 202 something. I was like, how the fuck would someone know that?
NASA.
No, and we looked, and when you turn the card over, it says the White House.
No, that's right, the White
and
House.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
And it's like a pack of Trivial Pursuit cards from like 1984 or something like that. So then we just called it, and just they immediately pick up White House. And I was like, oh, I saw this in a Trivial Pursuit card. I was just seeing
Understood.
if it was actually the White House. I was so stoned. I was like, seeing if it was actually the White House. And she's like, yeah, where do you want me to direct your call? Like, already mad. I was like, never mind, bye.
I'm sure they get it a lot.
Yeah. I'm sure it's that exact situation over and over again all day.
She's like, another Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah. Another one of these Hasbros.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, Hasbros.
Has-been bros.
Holy fucking shit.
That was a really nice one. Thanks, Inane Blather.
You're welcome. Shout out RM Brown. Shout out to
our Lord and Savior,
our sister Emily. Shout out to Wendy, Zach, everyone else.
Kelsey.
Gonna be too much.
Ryan.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna need to start a Patreon just so we can have a list of people to shout out. That's it.
Yeah,
it's the only reason. There's no extra
$1
content
a month, guys.
There's no nothing.
Just so we remember your name.
Yeah, so we don't leave anyone out. Because no, I'll still leave people out just out of spite.
Yeah, on
spite
purpose.
is fun. Welcome to Inane Blather, where spite is right. Okay, nice. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye.